All right, welcome to the Upright Labs e-commerce webinar on the topic of Keep the Sales Rolling, Post-Holiday E-commerce Strategies for Q1 Success. Today, I'll be walking through some tools and techniques you can start using today in your business to help your sales now and throughout all of 2025. If this is your first time with us, Upright Labs provides innovative software and consulting solutions to help optimize and scale e-commerce operations for the secondhand and resale industries. Whether you're just transitioning some of your brick and mortar into e-commerce or have a large scale operation, our solutions will help you optimize growth. A little bit about me. Today's webinar host, my name is Joe Pakula. I'm the marketing manager here at Upright Labs. I've been working with design, marketing, advertising spaces for nearly 20 years now. I've been working with e-commerce brands for over the last decade. Whether it's personal projects, nationwide distributors, or large onset of clients like Upright Labs has, we've got a good background in e-commerce world, working on various marketplaces and different platforms. I myself have been with the Upright team for almost 3 years now and just love getting to know all the different intricacies each new client brings our way. You probably know this, but no e-commerce business and no secondhand business is one size fits all operation. So it's exciting to see new faces every time we partner with a new person or organization. So what will we be learning today? First, we'll be talking about leveraging data to boost your sales. In this section, we'll focus on using sales data to identify top performing categories, brands, and subcategories. So businesses can strategically source profitable items and optimize their product mix to boost their sales. And then in the second part, we'll go over some specific tools to help streamline your inventory by using a standardized grading system, implementing dynamic pricing strategies, and utilizing inventory management software like Upright Labs Lister. In our third section, we'll be covering ways your business can save time, money, and resources by making improvements to your entire workflow, team, and all of the functions involved. And finally, we'll wrap up with access to some really strong resources we'll be mentioning throughout the webinar, including a few top brands guides and ebook that will really boost your business's efficiency for this year. So our first section is on leveraging data to boost your sales. As said before, the key message here is using sales data to identify top performing categories, brands, and subcategories. So we'll focus on 4 key factors: sales data analysis, identifying those high yield categories that bring in high dollar amounts, tools that you can use inside of your own e-commerce business. And then finally, we'll look at our own data from Upright's platform, analyzing millions of dollars worth of sales to identify those top sellers in particular. So why is sales data so important when it comes to e-commerce and specifically secondhand e-commerce? Secondhand retail can be fast-paced and unpredictable. Making sure you're identifying and selling high-value products is essential for higher margins, faster sales, and customer satisfaction. Analyzing sales data gives you a strategic advantage in sourcing high-value products. By analyzing historical sales data, you can spot trends, optimize your product mix, and focus your sourcing efforts on the most profitable items. Data should guide your sourcing efforts, allowing you to focus on the most profitable items and channels. Using data to understand which items are selling well and using that information to guide your sourcing efforts. You can tie this data back to specific suppliers so you know where to focus your efforts on when you're sourcing new products. Also, keep track of which items are selling well and where they're coming from so that you can focus your sourcing efforts on the most profitable items and those channels, ensuring you're bringing in high value brands and items and not wasting your time on stagnant sellers that are just taking up valuable space in your warehouse. So knowing why data is important is one thing, but how exactly should you be leveraging it? So you should be focusing on categories that perform best in terms of average price per item, so PPI. And Upright Labs data from Q1 2024 of last year shows that top selling categories include clothing, computers and electronics, and jewelry and gemstones. And diving even deeper into subcategories within these categories, you can identify high value areas on a micro level. For example, sewing machines are a better subcategory than generalized crafts and hobbies goods. Having access to sales data can identify top-selling brands and categories through data analytics. Uh, Furthermore, data from our Q1 2024 subset shows that top-selling brands include Apple, Nintendo, Coach, Nike, and Sony. As you can see here on the embedded graphic, there's an incremental breakdown of PPI, price per item, products sold, and revenue for these brands in the top 10. If you don't have a good look back internally on historical data, you can use tools like eBay's Terapeak and price charting to identify categories and brands that have the highest resale values. When you begin tracking sales data over time, your business will understand which items are selling well and where they're coming from. This will allow you to focus your sourcing efforts on the most profitable items and channels. You can track suppliers by keeping detailed records of vendors and donors, including contact information, item preferences, and donation history. Doing this will make it easier for you to nurture those relationships and request specific items when you need them. So now I'm going to show you a few tools resale businesses can use to get started to easily identify products they have. Here we have Google Lens, which is a nice free tool you can download onto your smartphone. It's easy to use. You take a photo of the product in front of you and quickly see results explaining what the product actually is. Myself, I use this for my kids' Pokemon cards. They have a million of them. I have no idea what they are because my naked eye can't tell what specific set they are from because there's just endless sets that they've been making since the 90s. So this tool is really easily accessible and it's also free to use. But the biggest drawback is that you really have to look through some of the search results identifying what you have. If you're scanning something that looks similar to other things, then it can oftentimes provide indistinct results. So you have to do some like analysis on your own. If you're an eBay user, I definitely recommend trying their inbuilt tool called Terapeak. When we send out the slide deck, you can take a look at their documentation on the tool. But here's a snapshot of some of the search terms. The tool provides insights into search volume, active listing count, search to listing ratio, and sell-through rate for different categories. This can help you identify current trends and stay ahead of seasonal demands while using data to ensure your inventory is aligned with what buyers are actually searching for. One drawback is that this is, however, an eBay specific tool, so you'll need an account to actually access and use it. For folks who aren't using eBay, you can still leverage eBay's data without actually having an eBay account. So if you're selling on a different platform, Shopify, if you have a Shopify store or Shop Goodwill or Goodwill Finds, or even, you might be selling on Whatnot or whatever the case may be. The reason why these tools can be helpful is because eBay has such large access to such a large data set. In the first 6 months of last year alone, eBay's revenue totaled $5.1 billion. So they have a ton of data to work with. This information you'll find is free and as easy as bookmarking the URL in a folder for future use, so you can reference back to it pretty quickly. Price charting is a good tool for trading cards, games, and comics. Unless you have an expert working in-house, determining the value of these collectible items can be pretty difficult on your own. So some considerations to be aware of is that it can slow down your operational process. It can take some time for these websites to return a result due to the large volume of data that they are working through. As such, we only recommend these as a training tool for niche items you're having trouble valuing and not a standardized process for all items across the board. Now that we know data is key to help your e-commerce business grow, we'll take a look at a resource focusing specifically on Q1 sales data. This is data that you can use right now in your business as we're in like the middle of Q1 or early Q1. Upright Labs has put together a free guide that analyzes sale through our platform from Q1 of last year, from Q1 of last year. This looks at $5.9 million across the board of more than 1,000 brands. You'll find the data from Q1 2024 shows that top selling brands include Apple, Nintendo, Coach, Nike, and Sony, as we mentioned before, which might not be surprising as these are popular brands, but it's very helpful to look.